Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is @ThePaddyPower, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather or the gym.
Hi there, thank you very much for tuning in to the Racing Post Weekend Football Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington. It's Masters Week and we've got two Masters of our own from the Racing Post Football Desk in the studio to guide you towards all the best bets. We've got Joe Champion and Mark Langdon. We'll be looking ahead to Derby Saturday, as they're calling it on Sky. Everton v Liverpool, Man City v Man United. All the rest of the 3 p.m. Premier League games. We'll go through them and dig out the best bets. There's your chance to win a free £25 or €25 bet from our sponsors, Paddy Power. And we'll look ahead to Sunday's games and also ahead to the Champions League next week. So we'll look a little bit of a fait accompli after what happened in midweek, but you never know, there might be a surprise. We will be chatting more about the Champions League in our 6 questions coming up. The lads get 3 each and then get to answer the one they wish they had been asked. So, without further ado, Mark Langdon, I only want you to talk about Man City here, not Liverpool. How bad were Man City?
They were very bad from the moment they conceded the first goal until they... for the rest of the game, basically. I thought the first 10 minutes, I know it's a 90-minute game, but I thought, they started well here, City. They looked in control, probably everything that they'd planned to do. But, I mean, a big fan of Pep Guardiola. I think that after the game we can say he got his tactics wrong. Playing
and
the
boy, did everyone say that afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, they did. I mean, it looked a bit strange before the game, and I thought De Bruyne was going to play out wide, like he did in the League Cup final. I thought, you're not going to get the best of him out there. And in the he played Gundogan out on that side, and it just enabled Liverpool to just come forward. And what he was trying to do was probably dominate possession, and it didn't work. And Liverpool, took their chances well. In the second half, thought they started the second half well. Felt like a matter of time job before they were going to get back into it, but they didn't have a shot on target. Gabriel Jesus it was non-existent. David Silva, as bad a game as I think I've seen him have for Manchester City. And there was very little on the bench in terms of sort of strikers that he could change it with Aguero out. So
and Sterling did nothing when he came on.
No, he didn't. He didn't. And I mean, like Kyle Walker as well, somebody you expect to offer thrust down that right hand side, didn't.
I thought the big odd one for me was when he kept Laporte on after Salah had gone on, because he obviously brought Laporte on to keep Salah quiet. Once Salah's gone off and it's 3-0, surely he brings in Zinchenko and try and go 2-on-1 on the kid. Or even just play, like 2 over there, maybe Sterling and Sane, and just really go
try
for
and
it. Wreck him.
I mean, but as far as City go, it was a really, a horrible time to put in, probably your worst performance of the season, certainly in a meaningful game. But that can happen in the Champions League.
I suppose so. And conversely, Joe, how good were Liverpool?
Well, I must confess I didn't see all the game. I've only seen the highlights and a sort of half-middle period where Liverpool scored 2 of their 3 goals. At that stage, they were absolutely all over them and they were superb.
Just bluff it, Joe. That's what everyone else does.
Well, they were brilliant when I did see the game, and they took their chances as well, crucially. If a team of Man City's calibre gives you these opportunities, you've got to take them, and that's exactly what they did.
OK, Mark, where does the Champions League value lie now? Before you answer, Paddy Power's latest bet, 9-4 Barca, 9-4 Real, 10-3 Bayern Munich, 11-2 Liverpool and 14 City.
It's probably
some semi-final lineup in terms of sort of European history.
I mean, it could be the 4. I mean, with the exception of Milan, who weren't in the competition, I think it's the 4 most successful teams ever in European Cup Champions League. So that would be, fantastic. Maybe Bayern Munich, and I'm saying that sort of feel like that they won't win it. But if you just look at the prices there, I mean, they look a little bit big to me compared to particularly the 2 Spanish sides. I mean, if they played Barca or Real Madrid, I don't think they'd be major underdogs to beat either of those 2. They've got a 2-1 victory against Sevilla, so I mean, virtually in the bag. I mean, it's not quite as clear cut as maybe some of the others, but I mean, they're flying in the Bundesliga. They've got World Cup winners at centre half, full of quality in midfield, and Lewandowski up front. So
Ribery looked good.
He did, yeah. I mean, he's rolling back the years, isn't he? It's quite incredible, really. I was wondering if he maybe would come back into the, because he quit international football a long time ago. He quit a little bit too soon. I know there were a couple of issues there, but he's somebody that I didn't expect him to start. I was surprised when he did start, but he fully justified the decision to include him.
Good use of issues. Today, Joe, in my column, I did the Premier League most underrated 11. You didn't watch Liverpool, so there's no chance you read my column. Who's your most underrated player this season in the Premier League?
I think Robertson at Liverpool, who I know is in your team.
He certainly is, mate.
Yeah.
Although he's probably rated.
I think
now
people are getting wise to it now, but he's been superb all season.
He's crossed the Rubicon now, isn't he? But he's been good, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's just all season. He's been brilliant for them, and people are starting to cotton on to that now. But he's been such a fixture of that team, and proved what he was worth last night as well. Absolutely
excellent last night. Now then, Mark, tomorrow night in the Championships, the big one, isn't it? It's Cardiff versus Wolverhampton Wanderers, and to give you a flavour of how the bookmakers see that, it's 2-1 Cardiff with Paddy Power, 11-5 the draw, 13-10 Wolves. Mark, how has Warnock got Cardiff playing so well? I was trying to find my big kick-off somewhere to see what price they were at the start. I've lost it. Someone's nicked it.
I thought they were about 20-1
20,
maybe. Yeah, I mean,
have they surprised you?
They have surprised, but I went to the reverse fixture of this game actually, and when Cardiff deservedly won, and that was when I sort of took real notice of them because they were very physical, so I would expect a similar approach. Peltier, who's not been in the team recently, I mean, he was kicking lumps out of Jota. So I would imagine that they're going to adopt a very similar approach in Friday's game. Maybe look to get with the Cardiff bookings.
Well, that's it. I was just going to say. I mean, after Wolves went nuts at
they
Middlesbrough.
Did, yeah. I mean, they've got that. Without sort of stereotype, they've got that sort of Latin in them to really. I mean, I think Nuno's a very sort of energetic character on the bench, isn't he? And he kind of pumps them up, no doubt about that. I mean, I thought Cardiff were horrendous though against Sheffield United in was it Monday, wasn't it? It's very difficult to remember all the days, but Sheffield United battered them for 89 of those minutes. They come up yet again with a late goal, which they've done all the time. Interestingly, I think this is a game where a draw suits both teams. Wouldn't be surprised if it finished in a draw. Keeps Wolves in terms of the title, which is what their aim is. They're almost up. Gives Cardiff a nice little position in terms of sort of finishing second, which is good for them. If it's 0-0 or 1-1 after an hour, I don't really see the desperation for either side to be going all out for the victory.
OK, should be a good game. And finally, Joe, are Southampton doomed? And let me give you Paddy Power's latest relegation prices. First, 1-3 Stoke. We're assuming the throttles are done. 6-5 Southampton, 6-5 Huddersfield, 11-2 Swansea, 7 Palace, 8 West Ham, 14 Brighton, 50 Bar. So Southampton, are they done for?
I think the recent performances suggest they are, really. They're not doing anything, are they? West Ham on Saturday, they were terrible. No shots on target. Didn't even have a shot until an hour into the game. If they carry on like that, they're not going to get out of it. They've got Arsenal at the weekend as well. That's not going to be easy. And, out of the three in the bottom, I could see Stoke being the ones that might be able to get out of it. But
I thought
not
that
Southampton
as well.
For me.
Yeah. OK. Mark, which one of Joe's do you want to answer?
I'll take the underrated one. I mean, Ashley Barnes, I think. He
was very close,
mate. He's just been... I know he scored in like the last 4 matches, so that kind of does bring him to the front of your mind. But, I mean, even when he wasn't scoring, he was offering a real sort of threat for Burnley. And they don't create loads of chances, do they? So, he's having to work really hard. He was linked with Chelsea in January and everybody was laughing. I was probably laughing as well. But, I mean, he wouldn't have done that much of a worse job than what Chelsea's forwards have done. Just a fantastic player in a team that's defying a number of key performance indicators to be where they are. It's a great story, and he's been part of it. This is Austrian under-21 international Ashley Barnes. Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, it's quite bizarre, isn't it? That he's Austrian, isn't it? He's represented.
He's Austrian, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's represented.
Could he get a look in for the senior team?
I'm not sure they know that he is. I mean, it's quite strange that he's not being talked about for any kind of international reckoning. I mean, I think he qualifies for a few teams. So, it'd be interesting to see what he does.
OK, and Joe, which one do you want to take?
I'll take the Champions League one, actually. And Liverpool actually do look a good price at 11-2. I think the way they took Man City apart, you would say there's not a lot between City and, Barca, Real and Bayern. So maybe they do look a bit on the big side. And, Real Madrid have shown in recent years that watertight defences aren't necessarily, set. You don't definitely need one to win the Champions League.
I'd love to see Liverpool v Barcelona. I think that'd be some game, wouldn't it? OK, chaps, many thanks. We will be back with the Saturday derby matches.
Success ain't earned, it's bought. That's why at Paddy Power, we paid the big bucks for the best tech nerds in the world to develop our new, fastest ever app. Download the new app from the App Store or Play Store now. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
OK, so Liverpool thrashed Man City on Wednesday night, and they are both involved in big derby games on Saturday. We'll start our look at the Saturday football with the 12:30 game at Goodison Park. It's Everton versus Liverpool. Obviously, both Liverpool and City have only got 3 days between this game and the return leg at the Etihad. So we'll see what happens in terms of team selection, motivation, etc. But for the derby, Paddy Power bet 3-1 Everton, 13-5 the draw, and 5-6 Liverpool. Mark, are you doing this one for the paper, or has Phil not picked the team yet?
I'm not sure. I'll probably have the Manchester derby, I would have thought, given City potentially on the verge of wrapping up the title. A tough game, I think, this Liverpool or Everton v Liverpool, because what does Jurgen Klopp do? They've got the 10-point advantage on Chelsea in terms of top four. Chelsea have got a game in hand and have got to play Liverpool at home. So I think that Jurgen Klopp needs to be slightly wary of still potential. I know they're a very short price now, but if you lose the game and then it gets down to 7, you're in the nervous territory. Again, I was looking at the draw as the best value here. I'm not sure he will pick a full-strength team. We saw Salah go off. Firmino looked knackered as well when he swapped in for Solanke. So it may not be the Fab Three up front, and that gives Everton a chance of saving face after being humiliated really by Man City last week. I mean, they just toyed with them in that first half particularly. And Everton have done okay in the Merseyside derby this season. I know they've got a wretched record overall, but they drew at Anfield, and I thought they were doing really well in the cup tie until the dodgy penalty sort of turned the game slightly. So maybe Everton, who have drawn at home with Chelsea this season, can raise their game enough against a slightly distracted Liverpool.
Joe, what's your view?
Yeah, I was sort of looking at some way to get with Everton. I mean, they've 40 points this season, 29 of them at Goodison. So, yeah, but it probably depends on what sort of team Liverpool do put out. I mean, we think Mo Salah's going to be out as well. So, in that regard, maybe just wait and see before backing Everton as to what Liverpool play. But one I was looking at was over 2.5 goals. I think it's always an open enough game, so that'll do for me, I think.
I always find it the most disappointing game of the season. I always just play it too quickly. It's really scrappy. I very rarely sort of watch a really, really good derby match. We always watch it because it's Everton-Liverpool, isn't it? Could be a really good derby match at 5:30 at the Etihad, and it could be the game that ties up the title. Man City 5-6. It's 13-5 to draw. It's 3 Man United. Pardon me. Pretty sure City have drifted after last night's horror show. Joe, what do you think? Do you think City will get the job done here?
I think they probably will now. Well, certainly at the price, I'd rather back them than anything else. I think there'll be a reaction from them. Whether Guardiola rotates or not, that is the big issue. But, to be honest with you, if you'd have given me nearly even money about Man City the other day, I'd have bitten your hand off. So one result doesn't make them a bad side, and I think that we might get a response from them.
OK, fair enough.
Yeah, United aren't Liverpool. They're not going to rip them apart like that.
OK, Mark?
Yeah, I think that Liverpool are well matched up to play against City. I think Guardiola said that, actually. I mean, his pre-match press conference, and the one thing he did get right in that Champions League quarter-final. I was looking at under 2.5 goals. I mean, Manchester United failed to score at Liverpool this season. They didn't score at Tottenham nor at Chelsea. So I think we know what kind of team they're going and what they're going to try to do. And they may be more successful than ordinarily against a City team if they do rotate. I mean, I was kind of writing down worst case scenario, and it'd be Danilo, maybe in Delph as the fullback, Stones and Laporte centre half, and then maybe Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling. You'd maybe have a Foden or Diaz in there, maybe both, with Yaya Toure, and then one of Gabriel Jesus or Sergio Aguero, depending on who's not going to play against Liverpool. And it's in that sort of forward area there where I just wonder whether City have got enough about them to continually cut loose against United. I think they still are the more likely winners, but it could be a low-scoring game, really. Now, United are not going to want to let City, I mean, they are going to definitely try to avoid defeat. I mean, it's pretty clear. It's not as a Spurs fan, it's not a nice feat. Arsenal won the title with a draw at White Hart Lane, and they kind of still talk about that now, even though it wasn't really the game that won them the title. I mean, it'd been done for ages. I think there will be a pride at stake here for United to make sure that they don't get rolled over.
He has been known just every so often to confound everyone, Mourinho, and come out and try and get after them.
I don't think he's got that. I think he's fallen into his shell even more actually as he's got older, which is, I mean, you tend to see that in quite a few things, even like snooker. In quite a lot of sports, people, they become more conservative actually when the sort of fear of losing sort of becomes too great. I mean, and even when they beat Liverpool the other week, they scored 2 really early goals, a bit like when they scored the 2 against Arsenal. But that wasn't necessarily through them attacking. They just found a way of scoring the goals and then really retreated. So even when there've been overs in these recent sort of big clashes, it's not really been, I don't think, with much conviction.
OK, let's rattle through the other 3 o'clock games then. I'll read the Paddy Power prices out. Obviously, other prices are available with other bookmakers, and the boys will tell us what's going to happen. We'll start with Bournemouth, who are 7-5 to beat Palace. Palace are 9-5. It's 23-10, the draw. Mark?
Crystal Palace, draw no bet. Quite strong on this one. Crystal Palace, last 15 matches in the Premier League against non-top 6 teams, 1 defeat.
1 defeat. Oh, excellent. Good stat. Joe?
Yeah, I agree. I like your boys. On paper, 5 out of 6 losses looks bad, but 4 of them came against top 6 teams. So
all by 1 goal.
Comfortable against Huddersfield as well. So
yeah. OK, good. I'm glad to hear that. Brighton versus Huddersfield, 4-5 Brighton, 23-10 the draw, 4-1 the Terriers. Joe, you go first.
Well, I put Brighton last week and felt a bit hard done by, really.
Missed the pen, didn't they?
Yeah, missed the pen. If they'd have done that, they probably would have gone on to win the game. I think it probably messed with their heads a bit. So, I don't fancy Huddersfield on the road at all. So, yeah, Brighton for me.
Brighton solid at 4-5 for Joe. Who for you, Mark?
Yeah, I didn't think I'd be saying Brighton 4-5 to win a Premier League game solid, but I think it is. I mean, Huddersfield, no shots on target at Newcastle last week. Brighton look comfortable at the moment. 4 of their last 5 games, Tottenham, Man United, Man City and Liverpool. Now, them games may become easier depending on what teams need to do. At the moment, they need probably 1 more win, and this is an ideal chance for them to get it.
OK. By the way, Mark, Joe asked the question earlier about whether Southampton are doomed. Who would you rather back to go down at 6-5, Southampton or Huddersfield?
I'll go for Huddersfield. Just I'm not sure where their next shot's coming from away from home. I just look at the Southampton team and just think there is some quality there. Whether they get it together, I don't know, but there is quality. OK,
let's go to Filbert Street. It's 10-11 Leicester, 3-1 Newcastle and 12-5 the draw. Joe, you go first.
Yeah, Newcastle they've done really well for much of this season, and they've lost 3 of their last 13 in all competitions, and that came against City, Chelsea and Liverpool. So I'll take them, draw a double chance.
Rightio.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rafa Benitez should be the next Arsenal manager. I think he's wasting himself at Newcastle unless they show ambition. Both teams to score in this one. Premier League high for Leicester BTTS, 20 times, and Newcastle have scored in 10 of their 15 away games. I think they're showing more attacking ambition than maybe they did at the start of the campaign. Got more quality up front, that's probably why.
Rafa might be about 90 when that vacancy at Arsenal arises. They play for both clubs. Come on, Leicester, Newcastle. I'll start. Danny Simpson.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, you are.
Slimani.
God, but has he played?
He came on the other day. Paul Kitson played for both. Did Solez play for both?
Yeah, he played for. He
didn't
played late on in his.
Yeah.
He definitely did.
Come on, Mark. Need you for one. While you're thinking about that, Joe's going to tell us what he thinks is going to happen when Stoke plays Spurs. 9-1 Stoke.
Steve Howie? Did he play?
Steve Howie? I think. Yeah, I don't know actually. I'm sitting there going, yeah, I think I just don't know. I'll Google it afterwards. 1-4 Spurs, 4-1 the draw. Joe.
Yeah, Stoke must be absolutely sick of the sight of Spurs. They've scored 17 goals against them in 4 games. Yeah, if you expect something similar, then pick a scoreline, but the bookies are well aware of that, and Spurs are a very short price on the road. I think the best way of getting them is probably to back them to be winning half-time and full-time at 5-6.
OK, Mark?
Yeah, I was looking at Shaqiri to score first each way, just because Tottenham conceded first in 7 of their last 9 away matches.
Have they really?
Yeah, which
That's a good stat.
it is. I mean, and some of them, Chelsea away, understandable, but it includes Bournemouth, Southampton, Newport, Rochdale. So they have had they've had their wobbles on the road before winning. So yeah, that was one way of looking at it. Or maybe even Tottenham to win from behind, something like that.
Okay, we've got Watford versus Burnley next. It's 6-5 Watford, 2 the draw, 23-10 Burnley. Mark?
Yeah, I had Watford down for this one. I think they've been unlucky against Bournemouth last week. I mean, they threw it away with a silly penalty and then the last-minute equaliser. Been pretty strong, beat West Brom, they beat Everton. I think at the price, I'd rather back them.
Okay, and then we've got West Brom, who are 7-5 to try and put some, not gloss, but sort of keep alive, I suppose, the last embers of their terrible season against Swansea. It's 2-1 the Swansea, it's 21-10 the draw. Joe, who's going to win this?
Well, first of all, can I just say I fancy the draw in the game we just spoke about?
Oh, my goodness me.
He's researched it. He's gonna
I've gone down the middle. Burnley, they're continually written off by the bookies, but they're dogged, aren't they? They'll probably just grind out a point.
I've only got 2 people to ask what they think, and I can't even do that properly. Sorry, Joe.
West Brom Swansea. I said to Mark this might be the last game on Match of the Day. I think no goal scorers are probably a decent bet in this one.
Who's it now? Darren Moore with the old janitor's outfit on. He's the caretaker, isn't he? Okay. So what are you saying? Draw?
No goal scorer.
Horrible 0-0 draw. Mark?
I'm going to give West Brom a chance.
You're a bit anti-Swansea, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I mean, and I think with good reason, really. I mean, there's talk of Carlos Carvalhal getting a new contract, and he's done a great job, and he's funny, and he's lifted spirits. I think they should wait until the end of the season.
If you're Carvalhal, you're standing there with your pen ready, aren't you?
You are.
You're waiting
I mean,
for that
things
bit
are
of
probably
paper.
not going to get that much better for him. I mean, he's definitely, he's on a high, even with their recent results. Maybe Alan Pardew was the problem at West Brom. If he was, then West Brom maybe will lift themselves, and it sounds like he was, judging by the local press reports.
Righty-ho, let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
Last week, Burnley did me a big favour, and I'm going to keep a little chip on the roulette table there where Burnley's name is. I know the boys are both, Mark's gone for Watford, Champ's gone for the draw. I'm going to go Burnley draw no bet. I just think that they don't lose. They're just amazing. So I've given up trying to fathom out how they do it, but I'm just going to back them draw no bet. Who are you going to back, Joe, as your nap?
I've already mentioned Brighton. They've won 4 of their last 5 at home, and they probably should have beat Leicester as well. So.
And Mark?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Premier League as well. Crystal Palace, draw no bet. At Bournemouth, who I think I've been quite lucky to continually been avoiding defeat, nicking late goals at Watford against West Brom. They were down for a long time in that one. I mean, if I was sort of doing a 1-20 next season's Premier League based on the current, Crystal Palace are top half all day long.
Great. I mean, and that's the sort of XG anomaly derby, isn't it? Because Palace are about 8th on XG, and Bournemouth I think are bottom, aren't they?
Certainly bottom last time I looked,
Okay, well done. Competition time every week. We give listeners and viewers the chance to win a free £25 or €25 bet, courtesy of our sponsors, Paddy Power. All you have to do is answer the upcoming question correctly. It's a very hard question, this, and tweet your answer with the hashtag Postcast. The winner will have the free bet credited to their Paddy Power account. Last week's winner was Stephen from Middlesex. Well done, Stephen. Okay, if you want to win a bet this week, just tweet the answer to this question using the hashtag Postcast. The question is, who was sent off for Juventus in their loss to Real Madrid on Tuesday? We will announce the winner on next week's show.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Simply place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week, and you'll get a free £10 bet the next week. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Bruce Millington, Joe Champion, Mark Langdon. We're looking ahead to Sunday's 2 Premier League live games, starting at the Emirates. At 2:15, it's Arsenal versus Southampton. Paddy Power bet 4-9 Arsenal, 16-5 the draw, and 9-2 Southampton. Now, Mark, I smell a bit of they need to win, so their price is shorter than it should be here with Southampton.
Maybe the fact that Arsenal go to Moscow as well. We're speaking before the first leg of the Europa League game, and the Europa League is their season, their only chance of getting into the Champions League. So, I mean, it may well be a weakened Arsenal team. So I think that there's probably a little bit of Southampton needing the result, combined with Arsenal minds and team selection possibly more concentrated on events in Moscow. However, he notched first last week, and I'm going to stick with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He's cup tied for the Europa League, so you know he's going to play around about the 11-4 mark. He looks like he's on penalties. I know he gave the second one to Lacazette. But
I thought that was nice, by the way. He got castigated by someone. I think it was Adrian Durham saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" But I thought it was a nice thing to do. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm not against
these
it.
selfless acts.
I mean, it's better than sort of them fighting over the ball. I mean, Lacazette had been the penalty taker previously, so maybe you could have said, why did Aubameyang take the first one? But I mean, he's definitely going to play, fitness permitting. And Southampton's, I mean, if they defend like they did against West Ham, then there'll be all sorts of problems, even though Arsenal are not particularly good at the moment. Hughes has been going 2 up front. And I think that I understand why he's done it, to make them more positive, but I think he's lost control in midfield. They didn't control the game against Wigan, and then they were overrun by West Ham. So it's a difficult
He won't go to Arsenal and play 2 up top, will he? Surely.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Okay.
But I mean, they're defensively without the players that they've lost. I think they are. They're not the team they were, are they? It's pretty clear.
Okay, so the Saints go into that hostile atmosphere at Arsenal with about a third of the seats empty. What do you think will happen, Joe?
It all depends on how Arsenal start, really. If they start like they did against Stoke, then it might be a bit of a dreary first half. Alternatively, if Southampton can't get any control of the game, then Arsenal could just rip them to pieces.
We don't want ifs here on this show, Joe. What's going to happen? Come on.
I will go for an unimpressive Arsenal win, so I'll back draw half-time, Arsenal full-time at 10-3. It seems like value to me.
That doesn't sound bad. Okay, and at 4:30, London derby, Chelsea versus West Ham. It's 2-9 Chelsea, 5-1 the draw. 11-1 West Ham. I must say, Mark, when I looked at the prices for the two favs on Sunday, I thought Arsenal looked a little bit big at 4-9. I certainly couldn't describe 2-9 Chelsea as big. I really couldn't. You may tell me otherwise.
No, it's not. I mean, I thought they played well in the first half against Tottenham. It was that Eriksen goal just changed the whole dynamic of the game, and then they were undone by Ali's sort of brilliance. I mean, West Ham haven't got Eriksen or Ali in their team. Chelsea have won all 8 of their games against teams at home, currently in the bottom half of the Premier League. And I was at West Ham. They've lost 14 times in the Premier League this season. 12 of those they conceded at least 3 goals. So when they lose, they collapse. Like you don't seem to get half measures with West Ham. So put those 2 stats together and thought Chelsea and over 2.5 goals. If you want to back West Ham, I couldn't say that. I think it's the one of them where if you want to throw
sling a 5, right?
Yeah. And it could come off. But I mean, I think the stats still point to a Chelsea win, and I'm not sure that I'd back Chelsea to keep a clean sheet. That's the only thing at the moment. They look a bit dodgy at the back.
So what's the bet, Mark? Sorry?
Chelsea and over 2.5 goals.
Chelsea and overs, okay.
Or Chelsea and both teams to score. But I think Chelsea and over 2.5 gives you the West Ham collapse on your side.
Very much so. Champ?
Yeah, I did think West Ham looked a big price, and they will be up for this, but they've been so bad away from home in the last few weeks. They've lost, they've got hammered by Brighton, Liverpool and Swansea. I mean, Liverpool, understandable, but the other 2, not so much. And, yeah, to be honest, like you say, have a fiver at West Ham at a big price if you want. But both teams to score looks the most solid option for me, because Chelsea aren't all tight at the back. So, yeah, BTS, odds against. OK,
and obviously before the game there will be a tribute to the great Butch Wilkins. It was really sad this week, guys, wasn't it? I mean, I remember being a kid and Ray Wilkins being made captain of Chelsea at 18. We were thinking, wow, this is absolutely incredible. So he's always been a bit of a hero there, and what a nice sounding man. The tributes just show, don't they, what a great human being he must have been.
And there was I don't know if you've seen the one from the Milan derby yesterday, where Baresi sort of held a shirt up to the Milan supporters behind the goal as well. So it goes to show how well appreciated he was. I thought hearing from the younger players like Chalobah and who was the other one? I can't remember now. Joe Cole.
Yeah, Joe Cole. That was really
Nigel
Nigel Quasi was loving it, and also Grealish. So he obviously really gave a lot to these young guys. He was a superb guy, and we'll miss him massively. So I'm sure there'll be a lovely tribute there at Chelsea. Let's quickly look ahead to the Champions League games. It's the second legs of the quarterfinals, and like I said at the start of the show, it almost looks like they're kind of fait accompli. On Tuesday we've got Roma v Barca, and Man City Liverpool. Wednesday Bayern v Seville and Real v Juve. Joe, if we were looking for one of these ties to sort of suddenly come back to life, which might it be?
Well, probably Man City. They are a fantastic team, and if they get it right, then they could haul it back, but it's very difficult to see them Liverpool not scoring again, and then they need 5. So
said the same, didn't we, about Barcelona when they did that comeback against Paris Saint-Germain. Or if Paris Saint-Germain score, it's all over, and it wasn't. But that's the only one.
Similar defensive frailties in Liverpool and PSG.
That is the only one really where you could see a comeback. I mean, Real Madrid and Barcelona look absolutely done, and I can't see Bayern losing at the Allianz with a 2-1 lead either. OK, we will be back next Thursday to reflect on a night of shocks in the Champions League quarter-final second legs. Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, we've got another Racing Post Racing Weekend Postcast tomorrow. Join us for that.
Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is ThePaddyPower, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather or the gym.